Well, we want to now interrogate some of the aspects around the budget and, of course, developments in the capital markets, where we've seen some significant shifts with the NSE 20 index edging up over the last few days and months. And who better to speak to other than the man leading the NSE, that is Geoffrey Odundo, joining us live here on KTN News. Many thanks.
Thank you, Abe.
And let's just dive in and perhaps what do you make of the budget? Was it pro-poor, pro-rich?
So, Abe, I'll say that in my view, the budget is responsive. I think it's taking into account the current circumstances we're going through as a country. Mm-hmm. As you rightly know, we have a drought at the moment, and also there's certain levels of credit squeeze, especially affecting the SME sector. So I think the budget is really out to sort of trigger or catalyze or strengthen the purchasing power for the majority of the Kenyans. Mm-hmm. Very positive move towards zero-rated tax on maize flour. Given that that's our staple food, I think that was a very positive move.
Do you feel it will be quite a big impact to the consumers?
Yes, I think, as the Minister said, it really depends on the whole value chain response to it. Are the millers going to be able to take that down to the sellers and ultimately to the consumers? Sure. So I think there should be a more nation goodwill by all parties in the whole value chain to ensure that it reaches down to the bottom. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And of course, we did see some surprises around the betting companies actually being slapped with the 50% tax. I don't know if this will sort of see more Kenyans shy away from betting. I don't know. What do you see in the horizon?
Well, my take is that it has been a very fast-growing industry. We've seen a rapid growth in terms of the penetration of that particular sector of the industry. It's no longer just a sport betting, but the betting has expanded to various many things. Mm-hmm. So I think it's ideally the easier way to respond to it, and basically just government get a fair share of that particular profit. So in my view, I think the minister has been very responsive to also just let the government also have a fair stake of what that has to offer. All right. In a way, it also tends to really bring some level of equity in this particular area. I think the feeling out there is that it's been a very quick, rich way of making money. Sure. So you must pay a fair share of your citizen responsibility.
Do you feel it was a fair move?
Well, we wait to see how the whole market will respond to it. But it's very too early to make a judgment on that. Yeah. That's
a safe call. And Geoffrey, of course, we did hear the minister talk about capital markets, indicating that he'd like to see more Islamic finance being given priority, as well as the bonds, where he talked about the Emma Kiba. There's a plan by the government to float Emma Kiba bond. And how critical will this be in terms of seeing more Kenyans take part in the financial inclusion chain?
Abi, the Emma Kiba has been revolutionary. I think we should take pride as Kenyans that this is the first bond in the whole world to be on a retail platform, both in terms of quantum, we're just offering it at 3,000 shillings, and in terms of access. Let me surprise you. As of today, the total number of registrations that we've seen on this platform is 75,000 Kenyans. Mm-hmm. The total number of the value of funds already remitted is about 95 million. Wow. So we're really heading to the 150, and I wouldn't be surprised if by midweek next week the offer closes. All right. Now, what has this done? It has just what comes out is that the Kenyans have been yearning for participating in government programs, but they've never known how to do it. Sure. The thresholds have been high, accessibility has been difficult, and the whole understanding is that it's more for a sophisticated investor. But the Emma Kiba is so simple in structure, so accessible, and we basically demystified what a bond is, even in our national language. So what I see going forward is that it will be a very fast mass move of raising funds. It sort of brings everybody, it spreads, or rather it distributes wealth, in my view, in a faster way, given that it's widely accessible. Government will also be able to access more affordable credit in that you have a wider pool of investors who are not necessarily able to price aggressively.
Sure.
So I think it has a lot of benefits.
Okay.
And really, at the end of the day, it's a proud moment for us to know that we are contributing to nation building.
And still linked to that, of course, there's that plan to do an Emma Kiba bond. And what figures are we looking at? And perhaps down the road, you've mentioned something interesting, that it would sort of help avoid crowding out the private sector in terms of the interest rates.
Yeah. So the whole issue is a 5 billion bond program. We deliberately went for a limited offer, which is about 150 million out of the 5 billion. So the balance of 4.85 will be launched, as the minister said yesterday, in June. The whole intention of doing the pilot or the limited offer was to test the markets. There's nowhere that this concept has been tested before in the world. And so the infrastructure development is generic to us. The product structures, all that is generic to us. So we have to be very careful on how it will go out. So we are glad to say that we've not seen any major challenges in terms of the whole operational side of it. And now the uptake side of it is very, very exciting. And now what's going to happen is that we're carrying out what we're calling business intelligence analytics to tell us the demography, the participation, the age groups. We want to be very informed so that as we bring in the future products, they're really well informed and really address the requirements of the various sectors or various participants they're looking for. One thing I must say that it has also enabled us do is that if you look at the population of Kenya today, close to 70% of these are youthful, people below the age of 30. And what we're trying to do now with this particular product is also give some form of financial literacy. We're bringing capital markets instruments to your phone. And so you'll now start understanding what a bond is, what an infrastructure bond is, what a government program is, how the capital markets help you. We'll have a secondary trading component, so you'll also know how to sell a bond. So for the future, we are creating a very informed investor for the future. So I think it has got a myriad of benefits that it will bring on board.
All right. And finally, Geoffrey, of course, the other aspects around the budget this time around, we did see the minister talk about the financial reporting center, really, where he's saying that he wants to see Kenya lead the pack in terms of having a very well-established financial hub of sorts. How will this play out now that you're seeing a lot of activity across financial institutions? We have several regulators, and this has to some extent made it a bit difficult for businesses to get all the approvals before they can go ahead with whatever venture they want to take up.
Abi, that's a very good question. In fact, we recently went to Qatar and just had a meeting with the Qatar Financial Reporting Center to just understand how the whole ecosystem works. And I can rightly put that Kenya is really well established in that direction. I think if you look at our ecosystem, it has all the features that any financial center has to have. And so for us, progress to that level is something that I think we'll achieve. I think that having separate regulators has been beneficial in that they've helped the specific industries also grow in terms of standards, in terms of products, and even the investment groups. So if you look at the Capital Markets Authority, which is a regulator for the capital markets, a lot of revolution has taken place to the point that today we now have an exchange-traded fund that has an underlying asset, which is gold. So if you're interested in the gold investment, you actually can buy the units on the exchange. If you look at the retirement benefits sector, this sector has transformed. Today we have 1 trillion shillings in assets, and the asset classes have opened across and are accommodating a lot of that. We have the Kenya Revenue Authority, which has created legislation and are supporting the capital market instruments. So the sphere of the whole ecosystem is really moving in the right direction.
All right.
And further to this, the minister announced that regulations around Islamic products are being worked on, and once these come to fruition, again, sukuk bonds, sukuks, and all these other Islamic products will be able to be offered in our market. And this is what attracts or what creates the features that are required for an international financial center.
Fantastic. Many thanks, Geoffrey Odundo, speaking to us. Of course, we won't let him go. We will be asking him a bit more about how the markets are performing as we come to an end of the show. But right now, we want to take you to our weekly segment, that being Transformers. And the Ministry of Transport is optimistic that investments in the road sector is set to open up Mombasa for business. Here's more on the Transformers.